I don't do two.
My people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
And I'm Bell.
And up top, we got my homie, player partner, licensed clinical social worker, and a licensed clinical addiction specialist, and a certified clinical supervisor, Mr. Adrian White out of North Carolina. What part of North Carolina are you in, Mr. White?
I'm in Charlotte.
Okay, Mr. Adrian's in Charlotte, North Carolina. For those of you listening, want to tap into some therapy or some counseling services, coaching services in North Carolina. Actually, the coaching and counseling nationwide right now.
Worldwide.
Worldwide therapy services. We're licensed in North Carolina.
I didn't know you was in Charlotte. My sister's in Rock Hill.
Okay, yeah, that's right down the street.
Yeah, I got an office in Uptown Charlotte too. So
Okay.
I'm out there. Oh, not anymore. I won't be out there, but I was out there probably once a quarter, twice a quarter. So
no doubt. So Bell, Mr. White and I chop it up often on the This Might Be Risky podcast. Shout out to them. But Mr. White specializes in guiding men, 14 to 65?
Yeah.
Through all types of life challenges from anxiety, depression to transitioning in life, divorce, all of the above. He's also does a lot of couples counseling, correct?
Yeah.
Couple counseling and whatnot. So, he pretty intellectual conversations, and he put on his therapy hat every now and then, you know what I'm saying, and go through the room and give everybody a little piece of it. So it's kind of dope. So I thought it'd be great to have him on the podcast, you know what I'm saying, and chop it up with him. So Mr. White, part of our yeah, welcome for sure. Thank you for coming too. I think it's gonna be dope, man.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. It's an honor.
It's gonna be cool for real. One thing we do when we start the podcast, we always kind of just check in, man. No, how many people ask a therapist how they doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not many. Like my clients do it though. Like the people I work with, they always ask me, but because of that therapeutic relationship, I'm always like, oh yeah, I'm doing good. Everybody doing good, because I have to make it more about them. But outside of them, you seldomly get it.
Right. So we want to make sure we always tap in and just check in and see where we're good, see where we're at. Because oftentimes, sometimes the check-in becomes the episode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just depends on on how we feeling in the moment or whatever. But Bellhead, go ahead, man. Check in.
I'm good, man. Can you guys hear me okay? So make sure my mic is okay. A lot's going on, bro. A lot's going on. A lot of good things going on. As I mentioned a couple episodes ago, maybe I'm going to be stepping into a new role next year. And I met my boss yesterday for the first time. So I met her. She's phenomenal. It was refreshing. Like, it was refreshing to meet her, learn more about her, talk to her more about myself. And it's interesting, Adrian, since you on, she had she sent me something. It's called we work with different companies, well, mainly one, like for executive coaching and things like that. And they do like these events. They call them 360s. They call them, there's all kinds of different names they do. But in one of these events, at some point, sometime, she did what's called a journey line. And I wasn't necessarily familiar with what it was. And I was like, I asked her to send me, well, she said, hey, Belle, I'm gonna send you my journey line, and if you can just send me one back, just so I can get a better understanding of who you are prior to us meeting. I'm like, perfect. When she sent it to me, I didn't understand. I thought it was mostly career based, like, hey, this was an up point in my career, down point in my career. Here's how I persevered. I thought it was mostly that, but it was personal. like it was a personal journey line. So it was highs and lows in life. And I read it, I was looking at it because it looks like a graph, you know, and I was looking at it and she wanted me to do, in return, she wanted me to send me her or mine, wanted me to send her mine. And I instantly got triggered. Instantly. Because it brought me to a place that I would have had to be very vulnerable and trustworthy if I'm going to be releasing this level of information to somebody who I don't know, right?
Right. This is early, like off the rip.
Yeah, we met for the first time yesterday, and I got triggered. And I'm a leader, right? Like I manage people. I know why she did it, and she did the right thing. But I'm like, I just can't go here right now, you know. But I'm like, fuck. But I need to lead by example. And so I immediately after receiving her email, I emailed my executive coach. I'm like, Toby, I need you, man. We got to catch up. I got to talk to you about, you know, some of these things I'm feeling and why I'm here, you know. And long story short, he coached me through it, and he helped me figure out, well, I knew where it was coming from. I just didn't know it affected me that much. And he told me, he's like, look, man, you gotta get this stuff on paper. He was like, the reason you feel like this is due to individuals. You need to write down the impact that they had on you, and you need to get closure. And I was like, he's like, you may be able to get closure from writing it all down, or you may need to speak to them. But either way, you need to get some closure on it. And I replied to her, and I'm like, thank you. I was like, thank you for being so vulnerable. Thank you for trusting me with this information. And I said, I know how important it is to know who you're going into battle with. I said, but I'm not here. I'm not there yet. I'm like, if it's okay with you, I would rather talk to you through some of the things I feel comfortable talking about. I said, but I'm not ready to put it on paper. You know what I'm saying? Because that was like a level of vulnerability for me that, like, not that she would ever do this, but once it's on paper and it's sent, right? Like that was like out to the world. And I know it's not out to the world, but in my mind, it was like, once I put this on paper, that means all these things are real, you know? And I was like, I'm still processing that this is real time stuff that had happened just recently that I still haven't processed yet. So I was like, I got to process this shit before I start talking to you about me at deep down at my core, you know? So it was an interesting moment, and she was completely understanding. She's like, however far you want to go, Bell, is enough. And that was reassuring. And I ended up going there with her about that exchange. Like she sent it to me on how I was triggered and how I reached out to my executive coach or whatever. And she appreciated that. I was like, I just want to give you context. I said, I have no doubt you're going to learn who I am in my entirety. I said, but right now, me going there prematurely could do more harm than good, whether you realize it or not. And like I said, she was completely understanding, but I just talked to her about the experience leading up to that fear of now vulnerability and trust. So that was interesting. It was an interesting moment. That happened on Monday. I met her yesterday, and it was, like I said, she was phenomenal. Like she's definitely, and I'm working in the DE&I space going forward. So she's a bleeding heart, and it was good. It was good. And today I spent some time, one of my new teammates, and yeah, man, things are good. I get a bonus tomorrow out of nowhere. The founder.
Let me hold something.
No,
let me hold it.
My founder of our company.
You know I'm good for it.
Shut up. So listen. So the founder of our company we've been around for 40 years. So he's given everybody. Actually, that's all I'll say. He's giving out significant bonuses to everybody who works for the organization. So
definitely loan me $5.
It's pretty cool. So, but that's my check-in, man. Everything is good. Everything is good. Can I ask you to share your timeline with me? I probably know 90% of it. Yeah, I don't know that I'm ever gonna write it, to be honest with you.
Okay. No, I'm just asking. If I'm saying that might be a way to like to get it there, someone you actually trust. You know what I'm saying? Like it might.
But it's yes, in theory, you're right. But it's less about who I send it to and more about putting it on paper.
Got you.
You see what I'm saying? So it's less about that. Now, obviously, I wouldn't have any problem with me not knowing her yet. It's just an extra layer, but that I don't get there until I get to the point of putting it on paper anyway. And I'm not even ready to put it on paper. See what I'm saying?
I mean, just because we literally been friends the majority of our life, like I probably could write 90% of your timeline.
So yes, like my personal timeline, absolutely. But what you couldn't write is my professional timeline.
Like all that included in hers? Personal and professional, or did it seem more like
mostly personal? Hers is mostly personal. But the reason why I bring up the professional is because the professional, I'm going to use this word, but it might be a little exaggerated, but the professional trauma is not allowing me to put it on paper.
Got you. I feel like in that case, it might do more harm than good.
Yeah. Like if I go here with you and I'm not ready to go here, it's not going to make me feel good. Mm-hmm. And I may resent you for it. So therefore, I won't be able to create the relationship that you want. Whereas if you give me time and I'll get there naturally, you'll have exactly what you're looking for in me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mr. White, I'll have
you go next. Wait, he's about to comment. Shut up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what would you say is like the biggest barrier or thing that's keeping you from wanting to explore and just dive into that more?
Trust.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, it's 100% unequivocally trust.
I'm talking about with yourself. Right. So like not to nobody, but taking the time to really write it on paper and just go through that process.
Yeah, no, I already started.
Okay.
So before it was like I said, like I may have said, I didn't know it was affecting me as much as it did until I got that email. You know what I'm saying? We talk about all the time on the show. It's like we suppress shit and we just keep pushing. You know, we suppress it and then we just keep going. And then, like I always also say, deal with your trauma's going to deal with you. And that when that email came through, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know I was going to feel like that when asked to trust somebody and to be vulnerable. I'm like, I've never felt like this. So if I'm feeling like this, that means something definitely happened I know what happened, but what happened, I had to admit to myself that it bothered me more than I thought it did. It's funny, Chief. I just re-listened to the Depression is a Luxury episode.
That's funny. I watched it today.
Because my boss, when I met her, she basically asked for permission to listen. I'm like, yeah, no problem. She's like, well, which one should I listen to? I was like, well, listen to Depression is a Luxury. So I just wanted to listen to it again just to make sure if she talked to me about it, I remember what happened. But I had talked about it on there, how depression, like I refuse to believe I'm depressed, even though I could be depressed. And I'm not depressed right now. But when I saw that, I got triggered, like almost I went to defense mode because that shit shouldn't bother me as much as it do. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is it does. So I got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or to deal with me. And that's where I'm at. So anyway, long story short, I did go there. I did put it on paper. So I wrote down everything that I did, exactly what my coach told me, is like the impact that those individuals had on me and how it shows up in my life now. So, and I may share it, I may not share it, but it doesn't matter. I already feel better because I had that conversation with him and I had to take a flight back home, and I was like rigorously, what's the word? Rigorously typing on the plane, all my feelings, for me to start getting closure. So
that's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Mr. White, I'll let you go next, B. Check in. How you living? How you feeling? How you leaving?
Oh man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Work going good, you know, building and developing with the wife, that's going good. Building the marriage, a huge blended family, you know. We've been through a lot of transition, but I love the fact that our perspective of it, and just focusing on the journey of it and understanding that, hey, we're in this thing together, but really living that out, so it's been amazing to see her strengths, her skill set, how it matches mine, and then me still being able to identify my own weaknesses and on those things, right? So it's crazy because, like, as a therapist, I'm great at listening, right, and to understand. But when it comes to her, I suck at it sometimes, right? Because it's like, yo, I do this all day. Why you don't just boom, 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 boom? You know what I mean? So to actively have things that I'm working on, and the way she'll check me on it, but the grace with it all, it's just beautiful, man. I'm happy. Yeah, for the most part, I'm good. Trying to still balance work and home, right? Because like I said, with the big blended family, I got to be here. I got to help with things like that. I can't, leave her to do everything. At the same time, trying to build, my multiple businesses, right, with the therapy and with the counseling and coaching. But she's doing those things as well too, So I really think we both have shifted to where the journey of it is what's really important. And we have identified that, the more we work on our purpose things, the things that we're supposed to do as a couple, it just brings so much joy, to everything else, man. So overall, I'm doing really good. In spite of everything, I'm doing really good, man.
That's dope.
How long you guys been married?
We've only been married for a little over a year.
Oh, so you guys are basically newlyweds. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's but with the transition, it ain't so. Yeah, we newlyweds, right? But so my wife, she was from Arizona, and I lived here. Wow. So when I married her, like, I flew down, married her. The next day, got her and her daughters and flew them back here, right? That was last November. Then that September, we had our son together. Got married in November, moved them here. We moved. I got a new job in January. We moved in March. Found out she was pregnant again in May. I just started a new job, and we just had another newborn. So we got 7 total. So it's always friction, transition, but through it all, like, we still here, right? We still communicating. We still are continuing to spend time with each other just to talk. You know what I'm saying? And we both were previously married before. So that gives us a whole nother layer that we have to work through, right? Because I always say healing comes in levels. So after my divorce, I thought I was healed and good. She thought she was healed and good, but now we still triggering each other as well too from past things. So the fact that we can, talk about those things, go to therapy and counseling, ourselves, like, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, man. Like that, we talked about that on the depression episode that Chief and I were just referencing. It's crazy how, in theory, we can tell ourselves a lot of things, but when it comes to practice, right, you see that it may not be what you thought, like when you're really in the moment, you know what I'm saying? But that's dope, man. Like, it sounds like you guys are equipped to weather whatever storm, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's up.
No, that's definitely what's up. Yearn for those days to come, B, for sure. As far as me, man, all is well. Kids are happy and healthy. I did Newington High School yesterday, Bell.
Yeah, I saw it on the calendar.
Yeah. I did Newington High School yesterday. Rocked that joint. It was crazy because I'm actually in a fantasy football league with a dude who teaches there, and had no clue. So he texted the group, and it was kind of cool because he what he said, I was just like, yo, that's pretty dope, because he was just like, I got a room full of freshmen saying something was really good. He goes, it must have been really good because they hate everything. And he goes, yeah, they don't like anything. I could light myself on fire and hand out lollipops and they would think it's lame, but they're up here talking about how awesome it was. So I'm like, yo, that's what's up, because like, these kids, they hate everything. So it was kind of cool just to go in there and kind of, just do what I do and inspire the masses. It felt good. Passed out wild journals and the Live Strong bands or whatever. But the kids really, like 17 of them literally emailed me today, like, their poems or whatever. And I got back to all of them, like, good job. Even edited a couple, sent it back or whatever. So that was kind of cool. But outside of that, man, everything is good, man. Moving and shaking, doing what I do. You dig? But let's jump into it, fellas. In today's conversation, Bell, did you have any questions for Mr. White in terms of what he's doing and what he does? Huh?
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. I said, did you have any questions for Mr.
Can you
White
hear
before
me?
I jumped into? Yes. Can you hear us?
No, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It's delayed. It's delayed. That's why I turned my camera off. Maybe helping that will help with the bandwidth. But are we also
Nah.
sure that is my Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Because you
we ain't got that
you
problem.
was breaking up while you was talking. But
Nah, I literally just got the Xfinity homie came to the crib today. I actually got an upgrade. I'm dead serious. I actually got an upgrade today.
well, get your money back. No, no, I don't have any. I mean, I do, but I don't want. I may be able to ask the questions throughout the episode, so I don't need a special dedicated time to ask them. I'll weave them in short.
For sure. So Bell has sent this clip in our group chat a while ago, Mr. White, or a couple of days ago, and it was about. Let's listen to it, and we can have a conversation about it.
You could be better at
conflict resolution.
Thank you.
We don't know how to say a funny story. I was in Atlanta. Shout out to Cliff. I was in Atlanta with my guy Cliff and P and Ty. They kind of had like a little after party situation. And it's okay to, as men to say sorry. Dude had on a white Demir fit, white Yeezys, look phenomenal. I'm dancing, vibing, knocked over a whole cup of Hennessy in front of his shirt. See, the whole section did what you did. They're like, oh my God. Ian about to get his dumb ass shot up, knocking his Hennessy over. First thing, my brother, I'm so sorry. I mean to. I could have been like, yo, you bumped into me. I bumped back into you.
Right.
What's happening?
Right.
Would have led to disaster.
Right.
And he was a gangster. Like everyone knew, like, yo, he ain't nothing to play with. He's like, no, it's going, like, bro, I cash app you, get you another shirt. He like, bro, you was just having a good time. It wasn't that big of a deal. So just saying sorry, excuse me, my bad, bro, this hurt my feelings. We don't do that enough in our community as men. Because most shootings, honestly, most real violent situations come down to, are you going to disrespect me and not say sorry and act tough?
Right.
Let me show you. Opposed to being like, bro, my bad. Yo, I should have.
So we see that, and before we tap into the conflict resolution part of it, I wanted to ask y'all, like, what could our community be better at?
Before we get into that, I'd be forgetting that we live. So, because we don't be going live like that. Well, we just started. Why Bree just text me? Bree's my daughter, Adrian. Why she just text me? Bonus with the big eyes, like, because I'm like, how she know about my bonus? And I'm like, oh, we live.
Yeah, so word, Sugar, I'm the one who convinced him to go live tonight again. So when you get that bonus, break Uncle Mike off a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I ain't got it. Sorry, repeat the question.
No, all good. So before I said, so Ian mentioned conflict resolution as part of one of the things that our community could be better at. What do you give me? Let's list some more things you think our community could be better at, though.
We ain't got enough time for that. Like,
we ain't got to talk about them all, but let's create a list.
How about we start with why don't we? Let's start with that one thing, because I feel like that one thing that we're not good at literally decreases the black population. 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like conflict resolution. And I talked about it in an episode a while ago. I probably talked about it multiple times, but Adrian, I'll tell you just in case you didn't see the episode. One day I'm at the bar with my white counterpart, and we're close. Like, he's to date my closest friend in my company, and we're talking, and we can shoot the shit. He's like, hey man, he's like, why black guys always so ready to fight? That was his question. And of course that made me want to fight him, right? But I'm like, let me process what he's saying and give him an answer, because I had to think about it. And I'm like, because of pride. Like, it's pride. Because it goes back to slavery, right? Like, that was all we had at one point, was our pride and our word and whatever. And I think we're so prideful on both sides. So that exact scenario that Ian was just talking about is if Ian had too much pride to admit he was wrong, that would have got turned disastrous. But I think we can start there, right? Like one of the things that we don't do well is conflict resolution. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why do we let our pride? Why do we die over our pride? Essentially, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing.
Definitely is. So I'd like to double back real quick. 18 is the cutoff age. Before the age of 18, did anyone ever teach you conflict resolution?
Nope.
No, you know what keeps playing in my head?
No.
Two things. My mom said when I was real young, if they hit you, hit them back. My dad said, don't let them get the first shot because you may not get another chance. You know what I'm saying? So it was never about talking about anything. It's like, right. if it's going down, let's get it over with. You know what I mean?
That's been my thing too. My thing was if they hit you, hit them back. Yeah, I never got the the hit them first because obviously I'm gonna get it out there now because I didn't have a dad. That what you ready? That was coming.
No. I think him.
Every episode, Mr. White, this cat be like he throw a dad joke in it. So I gotta kind of, they say you beat him to the punch, you save the hurt. Yeah, but so not very true. 18 to 25. Did anybody teach you conflict resolution?
I'm trying to think, bro. How would that be taught? I just want to make sure.
Just in terms of like you making a mistake and someone sitting you down going, you could have handled this differently.
Oh, so after the fact.
Just in general, like where you learned the lesson.
After the fact, I've had, like everybody can be Monday morning quarterback. Like I've had, I mean, every time I've gotten in trouble in school with conflict being the catalyst with another student, it was always like, hey, this is how you could have handled it better. But one, I'll speak for me. I wasn't trying to hear that at that time. Emotions were still high because that conversation has happened immediately following whatever the conflict was. So I'm not sick. What I'm saying is the way I took your question was a preemptive conversation. Mm-hmm. Right.
Just in general, like we're not even in that though, like even post conflict, I don't think those lessons necessarily stuck.
They never stuck. They weren't received by me. I'm speaking for me.
Yeah, me either, because I'm not thinking about it.
Well, were they? I don't think they were. So for me, I don't think they were ever taught to me. Right. I really feel like it's something I kind of figured out on my own. Because even after the fact, when it came down to like getting the consequences, oh, you shouldn't do this, right? But they never taught me to look at the whole picture of everything, right? They never taught me to say, okay, what is how do you identify what the real issue even is? It's always either do this or do that, or don't do this, don't do that. They didn't teach me the actual steps of, what is the problem, the importance of understanding, of being aware, like all of those things. Those was things I feel like I literally taught myself throughout the years from so many different consequences that I had to face. Okay, what really happened here? You know what I'm saying? Why did this happen? What do I do so that it doesn't happen again? I didn't have no one sit down and walk me through that stuff.
Yeah, so in many cases, in our situations, the consequence is almost what teaches us conflict resolution. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like we watch the homie pop off and get beat up. We kind of learned from his mistake, or the homie do some crazy stuff and get bagged. We learn from that. Like
I'll take a different approach. The consequence you're avoiding, not the conflict. Right? Like for me, it wasn't I wasn't avoiding the conflict. I was avoiding the consequence. So if I can do this and get away with it, I'm still going to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's a big difference than knowing that, oh no, there's another way to do it. So all that consequence taught me was I just can't get caught. You see what I'm saying? Or I can't lose this fight. You know what I'm saying? Or I can't let them surround me next time. You know what I mean? Like I got to get up out of there. So it wasn't the I wasn't looking for a resolution. I was
Yeah, so
never
I
looking
think
for a resolution.
in many regards, like I feel like I understand that theory and it's applicable to me too. But I think somehow, like I learned a lot. Like the consequences taught me more, or spoke louder to me. Like the reason why I don't drink. Like I saw the consequences of what alcohol does, and I'm like, nah, that ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? So that was in that regard was like my, I guess, conflict resolution or whatever. I don't have to put myself in that conflict because I don't want those results. I don't want those consequences.
I feel like for you specifically, growing up, you were always different. Not in a bad way at all. Not in a bad way at all. But
He was weird. So you say he was weird?
Nah, definitely wasn't weird.
nah, he was one of us, obviously. But he had like this, call it maturity, call it maturity. I'll just say maturity. Chief's 2 years older than me, but he definitely always had like this, I'm above some of this stuff that's going on because there's bigger plans for me. You know what I'm saying? Like he was better at seeing the future, and or a better way to say it is knowing his future and not doing things to jeopardize that. That's probably the best way to say it. Like that's kind of how I view you, where I was like, I'm in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what my future is going to be, but I wasn't able until I got to like my senior year when things got real, like full scholarships, offers, and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I got to tighten up. But junior, senior year, but before that, it was like I didn't see the consequence being grave enough to alter my life trajectory. Whereas I feel like whether you said this or not, I feel like you always saw that. You know what I'm saying? If that makes
I
sense.
think I did, but I also didn't get caught. So to your previous point, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
I don't think you was really outside like we was outside. Like you was outside, but you wasn't really outside.
Yeah, I escaped a lot
Like
of shit. I can tell you that. I escaped
no,
a lot of shit.
I don't.
I
I'm
escaped a
not.
lot of
And
shit that my homies the brothers got arrested for. You know what I'm saying? Like I just happened to be on the
I'm
outside of that.
I'm not trying to shit on your street cred. I'm not saying nothing like that. I'm just saying like you were just again smarter. Like if we go put a label to it, you were just smarter. Like
I mean, I did.
you
I ducked the bullshit for sure. Definitely ducked the bullshit for sure.
So let me ask y'all this: how much do you think you develop your conflict resolution based upon your responsibilities? Right. So, like with us being fathers, do you think that really put you to a place of where okay, now you're thinking more ahead, right? Analyzing more things. You're looking further than just today.
Yeah, I think a lot of my shit is credited to my job too. Like I all I do is put out fires all day long and deal with the conflicts they have. So I literally learn different strategies of how to deal with certain things, and I think I bring a lot of that home with me. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of what I do for a living has to do with how I move in the face of conflict.
I would also argue that you brought a lot of that to that job. Conflict resolution. Like I would argue that you inherently had it. You know what I'm saying? Like it obviously got better because that's all we did was put out fires when I was working there, and I'm sure that's the same thing you do now. I don't think it's something you had to learn. I guess is what I'm saying. I think it's something that got sharper for you. But to answer your question, Adrian, you're right. So I had a daughter. I had my daughter when I was 15, and it was a blessing in disguise. Like it was a blessing in disguise because, to your point, you got another human to worry about, and if you are not an absentee dad, then that is your responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like you own that. And 100%. Like when I had her, it definitely put things in perspective. And I know for a fact, well, almost for a fact, that I would not be where I am today had I not had her, because what's the real consequence? Me? Like my life? Like it's like I could justify that's not that important, right? At that time, whatever whatever age I was or whatever, or I can justify that I'm different. I'm not going to get caught, so I can keep doing the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like you, it probably like I said, I had her in freshman year, so I probably really slowed down. And I wasn't doing nothing crazy, but just more so putting her first in my decision making. So I would say that would probably really took hold my late sophomore, early junior year.
Got you.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I had my oldest daughter when I was a junior in college, junior, senior year in college. So I think that was the first shift, but it didn't last for me, right? So initially it was, okay, I got a child. That's why I was doing it. And that's why I'm also big on you have to really want to do it for yourself. If you don't want to do it for yourself, nothing else is strong enough to bring long lasting change, right? Because eventually your daughter going to get older or she's not, there's going to be things that are not going to affect her. So you can still keep some of them habits, but hide it. So it wasn't until I finally hit like a rock bottomy space where I wasn't able to take care of things like I wanted to where it's like, okay, you have to be a better person for you. And while that has still been a struggle, as well as I'm just learning different things, growing, continuing to learn just the depths within myself, that's what brought about the lasting change of me accepting, like who I'm supposed to be and really striving, to be that. And I learned that doing this, I call it the mirror challenge. I really started doing it after my divorce from my first wife, to where I wanted to look in the mirror, like by myself, and really be happy and love who I see. Right. So I literally just tried to win the day and that be enough for me. Right. Not my ex-wife approval, not the job's approval, not anybody that I'm working with, supervising, like being enough for me. And once I solidified that, it's been straight up ever since.
Man, you hit on a couple of things. One, I'm in the process of writing something for the podcast for one of our speaking engagements about identity. And I think as Black men, my personal feelings about that is we struggle, right? With who we're supposed to be, who we are, even, right? Like, who are we measuring ourselves against? Like, what does good look like, and how do we identity shift? Right. Shout out to April Mason. I read her book Identity Shift, which is more geared towards women, but I read it because it was something I needed to hear at that time. Because, bro, we wrap a lot of shit up into our identity, and the reality is, a lot of that no longer serves us, but it's just who we know ourselves to be. You know what I'm saying? Like what I was gonna say, and I don't remember if we were off air talking about this, or we were off air talking about men who don't date single mothers. And I would argue that ideology at one time or another did serve them, right? 24, 25 years old, 26, that might have served you. You were in your mid 30s, right? Latter 30s. The likelihood is lower for you to find a woman without any children, just statistically, right? So you may need to shift that identity, right? Because that no longer serves you. Like, it's like you don't have the same things that you had when you once said that. But we are creatures of habit, you know what I'm saying? And we'll live in a space because that's all we know, right? Same people who get money and don't leave the hood, or just don't have any desire to leave the hood, because this is what they tie their identity to. But the challenge is, it's okay for your identity to shift. You can still be who you are at your core, like from a value standpoint. But like that, I had to go through that. Like, it happens a lot with athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to find their identity outside of sports. And that's hard. Like, I have teammates like that. Like, I mean, I'm talking that they didn't find their identity. We graduated in 2005. Some of them haven't found their identities till like 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And they were still living that athlete identity. So that's what it sounds like you had to re-identify, as like who you are. You know what I'm saying? And who you want to be and who you need to be for the people that you're now responsible for. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we can make that a whole nother episode just on identity. Chief, you muted.
I swear I want to go back into our old episodes and find how many times we said that could be a whole nother episode and start talking about it, because we say it all the time, bro. And we definitely need to start having those conversations, because the whole nother episode is a whole nother situation, a whole nother set of problems that we go through that we haven't discussed. You dig what I'm saying?
Well, when y'all do that one, bring me back, yo, because it's not taught to us who we are, who our identity is, right? Proper way by a man who we trust, right? It doesn't matter if your mother speaks life into you, if your aunties and sisters speak life into you. If you don't hear it from somebody who looks like you, right? From somebody who's credible, right? And definitely, coaches and being in sports like that helps, but it's different when you have somebody sound telling you who you are as a man, constantly reaffirming that for you, living that out. And a lot of people don't have it. And that's one of the things I love about when I'm doing coaching and counseling, right? Is to help men find like their identity and to be able to speak that, into them. And this may be a little bit off topic. It is on my heart to share.
We good,
like,
bro.
with a lot of men, our issue is we don't know how to be sons, but yet here we are being husbands and being fathers. And that piece is missing. And it affects so many of us in ways that, we're not even aware of. But when I get to these men and we talking and we, chopping it up, starting with the solutions first, then start peeling back that onion, and I break out, you don't even know what it's like to be a son and have the freedom of what it means to be a son with a father protecting you. They break down. Everything comes off right then and there. Don't matter, haven't met a man who hasn't broken down yet, in that situation. And then we start to build, from there. So identity is huge, man. And I wish it was a way that it was more of a focus for Black men at a younger age.
Bro, you just really embarked on something that's deep that I've never, ever, ever once thought about. It's like, who teaches us how to be a son? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Like, that is deep. Like, I think about, it's crazy. I'm thinking about my dad right now. And it's like, at what point do I, like, it's weird because, like, this is a quick story, but my dad lost his passport. It's a whole nother story, but he's in Florida right now. And his only ID he had was his passport. So he lost it. And it's like, how much do I step in right now? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, first of all, he has an ID. Yo, this shit is from 2004. Like, or excuse me, 2014. It's 10 years old. Like, I'm like, bro, you just got your passport 5 years ago. So you was just rocking out like with no ID up until you got your passport. So anyway, I say all that to say, it's like, where's our swim lanes as a son? You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally believe, for me at least, I have a son. My son's 3. And my focus for him is like how to be a strong willed minded man eventually. You know what I'm saying? So like, when my teachings and all of my lessons will be to make him a productive, effective human in society. But like, how do you like, that's like, where's the, how do you deliver the lesson about like, how do you be present in who he is now? You know what I'm saying? And how he can be the best version of him now. Because that, when I hear how to be a son, that's what I hear. You know what I mean? And I think consciously, subconsciously, most of my teachings to him is for the future, and not necessarily today. You know what I'm saying? So that's deep. That's real deep. Real deep.
I think all of those things we throw at our children now, though, as much as it is to prepare them for the future, oftentimes they can use pieces of it now until they really understand the entirety of what we're trying to teach them. Because we always have those, if I knew then what I know, if I know, you know what I'm saying, what I know now. So he'll look back and go, oh, that's what my dad was talking about. You know what I'm saying? At one point, it's going to all click. Yeah. At one point, it's going to all click. But I think now, like,
that's not solving now, though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But ask him now. Ask him. In general, I mean, he's 3. He might not give you certain things, but ask him what have you learned? What have you learned from daddy? And see what he says. And just keep asking him every year as it gets older. You know, he might be like, that I'm strong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. You dig what I'm saying? That you love me.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's also I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this. That's also like after the fact. Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know how to say this exactly, but it's like, no, like, how do I teach him how to be a better 3-year-old? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I teach him how to be a better 3-year-old?
Hey, you know what? I'm thankful for you talking, because I started to write this book and I didn't finish it, but I'm gonna finish it this year now. I'm gonna probably turn it into a workbook, right? But initially it was for my daughters until I had my son. But it was gonna be called Dad Girls Pray, where I was gonna take the I think it's 7 or 8 stages of development that children go through, and then give like active steps in terms of things that fathers need to do at that age, things to be like watchful for, and things to pray for, right, as well. So with them being 3, I don't think the focus should be on, okay, let me help you be a better 3-year-old, but it's literally giving a 3-year-old what the 3-year-old needs at that time, right? So that's when they're starting to walk, they're starting to do all of these other things. So are you just encouraging him to do those things? Hey, when you fall, get back up. You're crying, okay, hey, that's okay. Meeting them where they're at as they get older, taking interest in the things that they're interested in, right? That's going to build a relationship, because if they're valuable to you, they know that they're valuable no matter where else they go.
Right.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so that's what I was saying. A lot of times with fathers, they feel like they more so have to be like the authoritative parent, right? Or they're just not around. They'll just show up for games and they'll do that, but they're not really taking interest in their child even at that early age, especially when they're young. If you are married or in a relationship, they leave all of that stuff up to the mom. But I'm like, no, as a father, you need to be given that nurturing and stuff too. You need to pick him up when he's crying. You need to do all of those things, because that's what they need, and that's what's missing from, a lot of us.
No, for sure.
And I think that goes back to being a son too, right? Of a father who genuinely loves you and protects you. And like my example, because my father, I didn't have my father, but it's just through the Bible. So that's kind of how I looked at it, to really see the things that I was missing. Also to see, okay, what is it that I need to implement, right? And that's the love piece. I think about, like, as I grow in God, he's not too pushy. He meets me right where I am at. He speaks to me in a way that, I can understand. And then just with my therapy background, use the words that they use, explore those things, right? I had my 8-year-old daughter. She was like, she got a boyfriend. I said, what? And at first I'm like, nah, you don't got no boyfriend. Like, we don't do that. What does it mean? What does it mean to have a boyfriend? Like, what does that mean to you? No, and we just talk because he sit next to me in class. I said, okay, y'all hold hands. No, why would I hold his hand? Okay, cool. Like, you see what I'm saying? Meeting them on that level and being there. So it's just small things like that.
But I mean, so let's stay at the 3-year-old level. But I think like at Bell, if you ask Young, and like, what has daddy taught you, that he just goes, that you love me. Like, to me, that's huge, because he's, 1, learning his father loves him. 2, he's learning that that's something he's gonna carry.
Yeah, no, I get it.
With him when he gets older. So even all these lessons and the gems we impart now are applicable to who they are now as a person, and who they will be, because You're doing it with
Yeah.
with the
I mean,
good with goodness
yeah.
in mind.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't agree more. Like everything that we're doing is preparing them, right? In one way, shape, or other. Like if it's, hey, either you let them touch the stove when it's hot, or you don't let them touch the stove when it's hot. There's a lesson to be learned in that, right? And he will learn. You know, all our kids will learn. And I think I'm more thinking of it from a conceptual standpoint, where it's like conceptually, like how do I teach him how to be a son? Compared to, we all want to teach. I won't speak for everybody, but most of us want to teach our boys how to be men. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's what a man does. Like, you look a man in his eye, you shake his hand, you open the door for ladies, all those things. Like, but it's like,
So
I don't know if
so
it's
what if
teaching.
you
Go ahead.
wait, hold on, right quick. So what if you looked at it from the standpoint of it's not your job to teach him how to be a son because he is a son. It's your job to give the son what he needs. If that makes sense. And that's the part where I say we don't know how to be a son because we weren't given what we were given as the things that a son should have received.
that's yes. So give him what he needs now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But
Give him what he needs now.
As it so like an example, give me an example of that as what you would give him what he needs now as a 3-year-old. Because I'm thinking like you taking Chase to the games with you, like that's putting him in a position to be a son, to do those things with his father. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think how I'm hearing it is, and you tell me if this is how you meant it, Adrian, but how I'm hearing it is, in short, meeting him where he is, in short, like coming down to his level, literally and figuratively, and giving him the space to be him, and with the understanding that this is okay, right? Like,
Yeah.
because we can get frustrated as parents, right? Like, I know we can all attest to that. We can get frustrated, and we get frustrated because we want. Perfect example. My son's been having some issues with daycare drop off. So Lorraine, my wife, she implemented 4 awesome drop offs will equal a movie. Like, we'll go to the movies and watch Ninja Turtles this Friday, tomorrow. And he had 2 awesome drop offs. Today I had to drop him off. I should say I had to drop him off, but I dropped him off today. And I had a meeting I had to get to. So I needed to drop him. I needed him to have an awesome drop off so I can get out of there and make it to my meeting. But I don't drop him off as often. I always pick him up, but I don't drop him off as often. So he didn't want me to leave. You know what I'm saying? And I probably could have handled, I didn't handle it in a poor fashion, but I probably could have been like, you know what? Let me just text this meeting and let him know I'm running a few minutes late because I'm going to spend some more time with my son in the daycare today. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, buddy, daddy got to go. Daddy got to go, buddy. So I need you to go to your chair. You know what I'm saying? Take your coat off so we can go. Well, really all he did was want to spend more time with me. And I could have navigated that differently because the reason why I say this, Chief, in that time, at that moment, I needed him to understand what I was going through so I could leave. As opposed to me further understanding what he's going through so I can be there for what he needs right now.
Yep.
That's probably the best example I can give on how I'm processing, teach him how to be a son.
No doubt. And that makes sense. But I don't think that's anything you can. I don't know if that's teaching him or teaching you. You dig what I'm saying? Because in that moment, had you changed your mind and go ahead, Bell.
Well, the only reason why I'm saying, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's a delay. I'm teaching him. One, I can ask him, hey, buddy, why do you want daddy to stay? I didn't even give him that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, I got to go. But I could have been like, hey, why do you want daddy to stay? And he may or may not have been like, Well, I just want to spend more time with you. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong with you want to spend more time with me. Let me just move my meeting and I'll spend more time with you. So it is teaching me to meet him where he is, but it's also not invalidating, or it's also recognizing his feelings and then validating them. Whereas in that moment, I needed, this is gonna sound crazy. I needed him to be mature and understand that I had to go. You know what I'm saying? Which isn't fair. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not realistic or fair.
Right.
Whereas I could have moved some things around because it wasn't that big of a deal, and I could have been there. So that's fair. That's very fair.
No doubt.
Quick question: can we see how many people are on right now?
I can. You
Listening to
can.
us?
But we got, so it's different in a way because we're here. What about that one, Bell? That's kind of what you said, right?
Yeah, exactly. I need again, like I said, the best way to say it, I needed him to be mature in that moment and understand I had to go, which is just not realistic or fair. So no, that's it. But again, that's what it is. That's what I'm talking about. It's what it is you got to be in the moment. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not
That's
in that. I
it.
wasn't in that moment. I had a 9:30 meeting. I was already at 9:30. You know what I'm saying? At 9:05, I was at 9:30. And it's like, no, I needed to be at 9:05 and deal with what's in front of me. And if dealing with what's in front of me made me late, then I need to address that right then or right before it happens. So that's a big takeaway. That was good. That was good.
And I'll say this too, right? Because you're not going to be perfect, right, or
No.
be able to get it right all of the time. But the one thing that covers it all is being attentive, because that's what a lot of kids need. But when you think about the majority of us growing up, if you grew up in a single parent home, mom wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like we didn't get the benefits and the security that comes with being a son.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
then even with that age, I had forgotten. I ain't gonna lie, I looked at preschool age, right? So that's initiative versus guilt, right? So that's one thing we want to focus on with the toddlers. And so that's when they start to assert themselves, right? So they may start to communicate, I'm mad or I'm sad because. So when you greet that positively, okay, well, hey, good job knowing how you feel. You're processing that with them. More than likely now they'll grow up being more assertive and understanding it's okay. But if you shut that down or make them feel guilty for how they feel, they're going to put it aside.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So nobody gave us when I say we don't know how to be a son, we didn't have that to grow up in, so that we're missing that and we're trying to learn backwards.
Yeah, I always say, man, like our parents, like if you grew up, in a lower socioeconomic status, our parents didn't have the emotional intelligence that we have. You know what I'm
Not even
saying?
close.
Like some of them also didn't know how to love. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just talking to my mom the other day, and my grandmother, God rest her dead, she never told my aunts and uncles, my mom, that she loved them. Like never showed them any affection, never kissed, never all these things. So they didn't they knew what not to do, but they didn't necessarily know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And they also not realized that missing affection piece and emotional piece, they didn't know how to display. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm as emotional as I am with my son because I'm this way with my son because my wife, right? My wife's Puerto Rican, and if you know any Puerto Ricans, they're overly affectionate, overly emotional with one another, and that's where it's helped me. But I said on podcast before, I've seen my parents kiss once in my life. You know what I'm saying? That they've been married for 40 years. So, and that one time that I seen them kiss, it was because I told them to kiss because I've never seen them kiss, and I never saw it again. You know what I mean? Which is so. Again, you can't display what you don't know how or don't know is missing. You know, if it's absent, you don't know that you need it or you want it or you should how to show it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, for sure. Yo, what I do love most about our platform, fellas, is that we take these this shit didn't start nowhere near this conversation, but the way it navigated and went, like, it's just dope how it happens that way, man.
yeah.
I really do. I would love to keep it going, but Mr. White, we don't have the the same stamina pause as the other joint. We ain't not doing 6 hours.
Yeah, they be going over there.
Nah, we're not doing a 6-hour show. But we like to keep it an hour or so, just to kind of have these conversations and put it in the air for people to embrace and what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Nevertheless, are there any Candy B? she a fan.
Word. Every 7
She a
years.
fan. Word.
Hey, listen, they are coming up on it. I could already tell with the level of these arguments that's happening. I could already tell, like, they're approaching that shit. They already talk about, I'm gonna just go live here. I'm like, yep, it's coming. It's coming. They probably about 18 months out from breaking up.
Yo, so we
Yeah.
I think if
Wait, just
anyone
to answer the
watching has
question, she asked if Chase is going to the movies tomorrow. He get one more shot tomorrow. Like, if he can have an amazing drop off tomorrow, we're gonna take him. If he can't, it's quiet for him. No movies.
Don't you guys stay firm in that, B. Don't be like, you had 3. We'll take you though next week. Make sure you get 4.
No.
Nah, you ain't get 4. Stay out.
See, but that's in the moment too, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to teach him a life lesson. Like, you say you're gonna do something, but he may not be there yet. Like, I gotta help him understand to express what he's going through, so I can help him navigate through that, and then we can have success. As opposed to, this is what I said, you didn't do what I said, so now you're not getting it. It's like, nah, like, let's talk through it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give him another shot tomorrow and explain to him what's what, and I'm gonna drop him because I know if his mom drops him, he's gonna have an amazing drop off. But I need to see it.
Yeah, I need to verify that. Yo, we gotta tap Mr. White. I want to bring you back so we can have that can your lady hold you accountable conversation with the gentleman on the podcast. I think it'd be a good conversation for us to have. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Anybody in the chat got a question, we can give you 1 or 2 before we leave. But in the process of doing that, Mr. White, just like the other joint, we always have a final thought. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest tonight, Mr. Adrian White, LCSW, LCAS, CCS, from currently in Charlotte, North Carolina, for therapeutic services worldwide, for coaching and counseling services. Mr. White, let them know how they can get in touch with you, boss.
Absolutely. You can reach me on my website, acceleratedelevation.com. That's for my coaching and counseling services. And let me just break down the difference, right, between coaching, counseling / therapy, right? Because I know we touched on it a little bit. Now, of course, people define things differently, but for me, I look at therapy as it's more so for someone who actually has a mental health diagnosis. And therapy is also something that is regulated, right? So I had to have a certain degree, certain number of years of training. I had to have clinical supervision by a supervisor, which is something I do now, for 2 years first, 1 hour a week. You know what I'm saying? Whereas coaching is not really regulated. Anybody could be a coach. So there is more risk with picking who the coach is. The reason why I lean more towards doing coaching and counseling versus therapy, because therapists is also per state, right? So I literally, even though I have the skill set in North Carolina, I technically can only do therapy in North Carolina. I would literally have to pay all of these fees, renew it every year for every single state if that is what I want to do. Also, typically with therapy, you're more focused on the thoughts, right? The emotions, things of the past, how it all connects. Whereas with coaching, and got anybody who's coached, that's more about the present and the future. So while both can be solution focused, therapy, coaching and just regular counseling It's more now and there. And I think that's where my unique skill set comes in, being a therapist and doing the coaching. As a coach, I can literally give you both. So we definitely going to be solution focused. I'm going to give you the tools that you need to reach the goals that you want to reach. And then if you still want to start peeling this onion back, okay, now let's peel the onion back, you know, and look at the why this and how everything is connected, you know, etc. So again, if you want more information, feel free to reach out to me. It's acceleratedelevation.com.
No doubt. No doubt. Post any questions you have in the comments. We can probably get to those. Bellhead, do us a favor, man. Throw us a final thought.
That's funny. It's the first time I turned on the comments. I guess my final thought would be, don't be afraid to go where the conversation takes you. Because like you said, we have, like, I'm looking on my other screen right now, we have a whole treatment built out, but we didn't get past the first part because the conversation took us a different way, and I learned a lot. So thank you, Adrian, for coming on, because I learned a lot, and I may not have gotten this perspective if we didn't go there. You know what I'm saying? On these rabbit holes is what I'll call them, because that's all we did. We just went down a rabbit hole, and it was just engaging and intriguing. So I kept going. We kept going, and I learned a lot. So yeah, don't be afraid to go off course if it calls for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know what you'll find out, and take some time to learn the why, right? And not just look at the action and allow that to create emotion. Learn the why behind it. So that's my final thought.
Mr. White, final thought.
My final thought is, this was fire, y'all. I definitely appreciate y'all for inviting me here. It's rare that I just get to have just good, solid conversation about real things, right? Where it's not just for the show, and it's just for us. So I appreciate the space. I appreciate, you know, the vibes. I appreciate the vulnerability, right? And the fact that y'all are vulnerable, that's what's going to invite other men to be vulnerable with you guys. So just because y'all don't have the credentials, y'all got the skill set down pat. So keep doing what you guys are doing. Continue to create the space. Continue to go, you know, forward, because it matters. It matters.
For sure. For me, I think, as I said it a million times before, but kind of lean on your homies, man. Like, I hit Mr. White last minute, like, yo, come chop it up with us. He's like, bet I could do that. And then look at what the conversation did for all of us. You know what I'm saying? And had us going different places. Shout out to Miss O'Grady. You know, she got her letters and whatnot. You think what I'm saying? Like, she got her letters, so she's in North Carolina. Throw your info in the chat. People can reach out to you, you know, if they need some services and whatnot, man. And we appreciate you for rocking with us, for sure. But yeah, man, I think, you know, just tapping into your people, and you never know what they can provide for you, or how you can be of service to one another without, you know, tapping in and having this type of dialogue. But I appreciate y'all, fellas, and it's been dope, Mr. White. We will absolutely have you back on again, bro. And you know, if something you want to, you know, talk about on the podcast, definitely hit me up, and we can invite some more people and make it a party. You dig what I'm saying? Again, we're just now becoming acclimated with the live portion of it, so it's going to take us a while to get our followers up and whatnot. But we moving in a good direction. We certainly are. We got some real good things on the horizon. But
I tell you what,
Huh?
Miss O'Grady got active on this. Miss O'Grady got active on these comments. I'm reading. I don't want to butcher your first name.
Yeah, that's why I put O'Grady, because I make it easy. We can read that. We can read that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Candy.
Yeah, no, this was dope. This was
Right here too. Bang. You can throw your information in the chat too. Let the people know how they can contact you, man. We here for the people. You know what I'm saying? We here for the people. We do talk about relationships as well. For sure we do.
Yeah, I was gonna. She had made a comment about something with your partner, being transparent with your partner, or something like that. We had a whole episode about that. I don't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but we definitely talked about it.
Yeah,
Not that we still can't.
I sent you that message about. I got 2 messages today about our Black Men Talking About Love episode. Randomly, super randomly. So
we might have years ago, right?
At least we might have to bring that back one time for the one time. You know what I'm saying? It's right around.
We have a much bigger following now. It can't hurt to revisit a lot of these episodes that we've already done because we'll have different perspective on a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, definitely.
We appreciate you from being a day one, Miss O'Grady. Thank you.
Hey, Miss Candy too. So check this out, y'all. We have a voice line where you can call. You know, you going through a rough patch in the moment. And again, we are not therapists, but we're here to help. So we've had some people tap in and send us a message like on the voice and like, yo, like if it wasn't for y'all, shit might have went left. And it was empowering, and it was like, yo, we thank you for reaching out, and like we're glad that we were able to help you make some better decisions for yourself. And
we also got text messages like where the episode's at, like you know what I'm saying. So we've got
right, like yeah, what y'all doing? You're messing up my groove, but
yeah, numbers is off. Like I see 89 and 92. What the rest of that? Yeah, no, that's fair.
Our voice line is definitely fair. Our voice line 860-410-6160. You can call us. All 3 of our phones ring, not Mr. White, but myself, Bell, and Prentice. And our emails, allblackmennytherapy@gmail.com, or you can hit us up individually, just Chief, Bell, or Prentice at abmnt.com. That's our emails. Go directly to us if you want to talk to either one of us individually. And that's all we got for y'all, yo. So do us all a favor, man. Hug a black man today.
Some merch on ABM.
Oh shit, I forgot about the merch. We got merch. Hit the website, abmnt.com. We got some cool stuff out. You know what I mean? Go check it out. Get you some merch.
Yo,
we'll give you a shout on the podcast. Huh? We'll give you a shout on the podcast.
You know how you be posting a little video clips?
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Shout out to Moses.
That's my man Mo right there in the All Black Men Need Therapy tee. You dig? You go ahead and hit the site and get you some, but I'm gonna make a video reel of us, like, you know what I mean, flashing the you dig? We can do that. I know what's the name of them got some videos, right?
Yeah, we did a whole photo shoot. We got it's all in the tribe.
Yeah, so we'll get those and we'll post those up or whatever. But yeah, man, do us all a favor, hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
Do it.
We out, y'all.
Peace.